Welcome to this week's Inspiring Salon Professionals. And as you can see, we are going to be on video this week because we have Mandie Holgate joining us. Mandie is someone who I've been around her world a while. I joined her world last year properly. And the reason I joined Mandie's world was because, I've been talking over the last few weeks about how you connect with people. And I really connected with Mandie because she was doing and literally, when Mandie does a live, and she does a lot of lives. When she does lives, she really gets quite into it. And she was doing this live all about this guy who was like stuck on top of a house in a flood. And it's a great story. She does it occasionally, but I was having a bad day that day, and it just made me laugh. And it was all about business, really, because that's what Mandie specializes in. But it tickled me. And I actually sent her a voice note to say thank you for making me laugh, because it was just, she really does. She gets quite physical with her lives. And she's a really positive person to be around. So if you don't know what Mandie does, do go Google her. She is very Googleable. She is a big international author who's written 2 books that I'm aware of. There may be more. I think she might have a couple of other smaller ones as well, but the ones that I'm aware of are Fight the Fear and Taking Control of Your Mind. And they're her 2 sort of more bigger sellers. So she's a published author, and I'm sure she's been like top of the leaderboards and all that kind of stuff on Amazon and around the world. She is an international speaker. She is a business leader. And it's funny, we were having a bit of a thing the other day about coaching and who wants to be a coach nowadays, because everyone wants to be a coach. But Mandie is a true coach. She has been a business coach for a really, really long time and is an expert in that field. And in her group, she also has a group that she started many years ago called the Business Women's Network. And from that, she's developed something called the Insiders. And it's a really amazing group of people from all over the UK and internationally that come together within her networking group to support each other in business and to help each other grow. And I've made some great connections in there, and really, really value what I get for that. It's a great thing, and I'm sure we'll cover that during the interview. But Mandie is coming to talk to me today to kind of carry on talking about customer journey, customer experience, because Mandie is a specialist in blogging for business, and it's something that she has actively done herself to become a very successful business person. And so we're going to kind of look at how people find you and what you can do to encourage people to see you as their local expert and someone that they want to go to have services from. So Mandie will be joining me in a moment, and I will see you on the other side, as always. Hit it. So welcome, Mandie Holgate. Would you like to give us, I've given you a brief introduction of my words, but would you, because I know you've been working on your intro and your pitch thing recently, so could you like to give us your introduction of who Mandie Holgate is and what we can expect from today?
Oh, right. Yeah, that's easy.
Yes.
So I've been growing small businesses for over 20 years. I had a very serious mental health illness many years ago. It led me to explore cognitive behavioral therapy, cognitive analytical therapy, and I trained as a coach. And one of the things I did from day one, I was very lucky to seek out the best on the planet. I've always done that. And it became clear, even in 2009, that I needed a blog. I needed to get out there and say, this is Mandie Holgate. This is how I do it. I may seem mega confident, but I am not. It is self-taught. It is something I have to work on. But as a result of that, I've been to the House of Lords, Downing Street, Home Office, 10 Downing Street. I've been on telly, radio. I've got a best-selling book that's in 7 languages and another best-selling book that's only in mere English. And basically everything I do is about supporting people and their teams to thrive and be mega successful. I kind of get pigeonholed into business growth, marketing, but I love the whole thing. I love the organic bringing together everything that makes us brilliant. So hopefully that's an easy intro. Is that okay?
Isn't it? I know. And because I was saying as well, one of the things that I introduced you as was like being a cheerleader of business, because I know there's something that you've been talking about in our group recently, and it is, and like that you are there, like, and I was saying about in the group, that you are there, and the group is such a supportive place, because it is people from businesses all across the UK and internationally, from so many different backgrounds, and just all those little connections that you make and all the different things that people do is it's just fascinating that. Yeah, like, you know, with everything I do, it just sits in the like little tiny niche of the salon world, but it opens your eyes into into what generic means.
Yeah, so I've been known as a cheerleader for many years, but it came about because my tagline is as passionate about your success as you are. And that started when I started hosting events for business growth and networking back in 2009. People would say, you've got to go to Mandie's events. She's as passionate about your success as you are. And quite often, I'm more passionate about the success of the team and the business than the boss. But that's because
we're all tired and had enough.
Yeah, but that's because I can see the potential. That's because when someone says something is impossible, I say, hold my pint, I will fix this. And I have in so many areas of my own life, as well as many others. When people say it can't be done, that's when I rock up. I've become known for so many subjects because of my blog. So I will get a bee in my bonnet about a subject. I will work with a client who presents with an issue, and then I create an article around that. And most of my speaking engagements, the really lucrative work that I do, has come about because someone's read that blog and said, Mandie Holgate, this blog about being overwhelmed, can you come and do it for 250 people in my team, please? Yeah. And that's how all the good work has come along. It's knowing about what you want to talk about, what you excel at, what will get paid, and then making sure you step above the precipice, above everybody else, and go, hello, I'm really good at this. And that's scary. I know that's scary.
That parapet, that putting your head above the parapet bit is like, isn't it? It's scary.
Yeah, visibility. And the amount of times I see insiders do that, and they come up and they go, and then I see them going back down again. They go, no, stay up here.
It's hard, isn't it? It's really hard. And I was saying as well, one of the things, like how I connected with you was, I think we sort of were friends on Facebook, and then I kept sort of seeing stuff you were doing, and then this one day I saw you doing the rowing, and I PM'd you to say thank you for making me smile today, because I was having a really rubbish day. But you were doing the story about with the guy in the flood, which I haven't got into, but because you just need to see Mandie do it yourself. But it's it's that kind of visibility that resonates with people, isn't it? And I think that's what I wanted to get you on today to talk about, is that, you know, you have amazing visibility. And the series I've been doing at the moment is all around customer experience and customer journey. And the discovery element, which I started off with, is sort of I want to come back to in this episode, because that discovery and how I discovered you, I mean, beyond sort of like seeing you on my periphery, that day you stood out to me because you did something different. B, it made me laugh. And C, I just thought, I'm just going to message her. And obviously, like, we've then gone on, you know, I think probably about a month or so later, started the magazine. It was like, I wonder if Mandie will do that, you know, and if she'd come and work with the magazine. And it is, and it's been a really like lovely evolution of working together. And so really, I wanted to kind of get you on to talk about, you know, your blog, like how the blogging thing can help, and how salon owners, whether they're in a bricks and mortar salon on a high street, or whether they're in a home salon, which is now like such a growing market, and probably even more so with the home salons, how they get themselves noticed and how they get discovered. And so if you want to kind of elaborate, maybe if we first talk about, if we talk about a website, because blogs are often part of a website, they can be independent of a website, but, you know, for you, how important is having a website that is visible on Google?
Okay, so when it comes to hairdressers, I would give different advice I might give to different companies. So I would have a lot of questions. So for me, if you are looking to create a brand that is nationally recognized, and you're going to have your team of hairdressers training and going around the country and having, you know, a beautiful salon in every big city, then I'm going to say, with every fibre of my being, you need a good looking website. You need to have a presence. You need that digital shop front that says, this is us. Because a really good brand isn't just about Canva and social media. It is about that feeling that I get the second I get to anything to do with you. And that's anything. That's a business card. That's a quick glance at something on Instagram. That is literally anything. If, on the other hand, you've got a minuscule budget and you are part-time business owner and many 4 hours parent, then I'm going to give you a very different bit of advice to having a web presence. Because what is important is that wherever I go, you're the person I find. So for me, if that's you and your budget is non-existent, if you're rubbish at tech, I am not going to tell you to set up a website. I am going to tell you to write a blog, but there's ways of creating a blog and putting it in lots of other places. We have got a number of digital specialists on the Insiders. Now they can create a website from like 350 quid. So you can have a digital, good quality blog on a website for that. And I would say if you're not techie, that is a professional option that's just about above only relying on social media. Having said that, we also have digital agencies there where you'd be spending £10,000 a month. That's one of the joys about the Insiders, because I've spoken such a diverse range of professions and big events and small events and the NEC and all over the place. We've created this very diverse group of people who all have amazing knowledge. So Rob Sales is one of the international digital agencies that we have there. Look him up, absolute genius. And he will share his advice and knowledge. But then you're not going to get to work with him, unfortunately, unless your budget is...
No one can afford it.
So I would say that no matter who you are, your first question is, well, what do we want out of this? Now, with the greatest will of the world, you maybe would love to be doing celebrities' hair in LA, but unless you are going to have a really good marketing strategy and budget, it's not likely to happen. So the important thing for you is to consider, how do we make our social media really logistically good? You are not competing with someone at the other end of the country to get known and seen. And this is the mistake we make. We look at our Instagram and go, oh, I do only 22 likes. I'm failing in business. People get so obsessed with likes. Go and have a look at the Businesswoman's Network. Go and have a look at Mandie Holgate, and you will see we do not get tons of likes on Instagram. It's not important. It just doesn't matter. What you do want is to get lots of your happy customers to leave your reviews on Google. Because did you know you can actually do posts from your Google panel?
Yeah.
And that's a great way of saying, hi, Google, my business is here.
This Google business profile, and Google business profile really, to me, when I was using it, it's got a feel very similar to like a Facebook feed, hasn't it?
Yeah, and you can do all of it.
Yeah, and it does everything that Facebook does, apart from, there's not groups and that kind of thing on there, but it does your feed. And I talk about Google business profile a lot, because I know for my business, when I had my bricks and mortar like beauty salon, it was massive, and I was one of the most popular sites locally, because I was always number one, always, because I utilised it, and it's free.
I know. Well, when
you can do Google ads, obviously pay, but generally, if you get your Google business profile working properly, it's amazing.
Yeah, so most of the marketing that I personally teach within the Insiders is either no cost or low cost. And I've been known for no cost, low cost marketing for many, many, many years. And I think it's really important to know what's my budget and own it. If your budget's non-existent, then own that. But the issue I see, especially with salon businesses, is they all copy each other. You go and look at them. They're all identical.
And some of them even take each other's photos and use them too.
Exactly.
That's not unknown.
So if you're going for, here's here's her hair before, here's their hair after, just stop it. We already know that. you're not going to be showing us rubbish before and afters. Look, here's before and after, it was even worse.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen.
That is showing me nothing about your business. That's the equivalent. I don't know if you've ever seen cars for sale at the side of the road. That is the equivalent of writing across the front of that car, for sale. It's pointless, utterly pointless. What you need to write across the front of that car is the cost. Well, hang on a sec, man. Surely it's going to be the situation. They're going to have a little look at the car and then they're going to worry about the cost. No, because they are not even going to slow down unless that cost matches up to what's on in their head. Yeah. So when you think about, this is another thing I see for salon owners in particular, is they kind of are all or nothing. They're kind of all over Instagram or all over Facebook or none of it. It goes up and down like a yo-yo. And that's another reason why blogging is so good, because it's what we call evergreen marketing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I get business from one of my articles that I did a version of for you called the shiny thing syndrome, where people go in lots and lots of directions and obviously get lesser results because they should have just concentrated on being laser focused on this thing first. Now, I first wrote that article, I think in 2013. It gets updated. It gets additional information. As my articles on confidence. I mean, there's confidence articles on my website that are 14 years old. Yeah. But I have had to go back and say, you know, you're not listening to music on your iPod anymore. For those that old, iPod used to be a little thing anyway.
Remember Sony Walkman? Yeah, I know. Oh, don't just
Anyone that doesn't know that, you're very young and you're very lucky.
But absolutely. Yeah. And then there was always play and record, even worse.
Yeah, and everyone's marketing matches, and everyone has a nice scrolly bit of writing with a nice bit of block writing, and everyone has the right colours, and it all matches up. But you can't stand out like that. You want to be someone that stands out. And you've got to do that. You have to have confidence, because you have to have that confidence to say, I'm different, I accept and I love who I am, and the right people are going to find me and love me too. Yeah. And that's not easy. I've said this for many, many years. I can create you the best business model, the best products and services, and the very best marketing strategy. But if you have no confidence, if you have no faith in what you're capable of, you will damage the results. And that's why confidence and communication is so massive to me in business. It's probably my favorite subject, because once you change the way someone feels about themselves, the way they project themselves in the world changes, and it has such a huge impact on that person's business and their earning potential really quickly. And I think that's very important to remember, that stop trying to be like everybody else. And people hide who they are. So they hide the barking dog or the child or the fact that they've got spots. Don't hide it. Own it.
I know. I've got a sty today. Do you think good? It's like, oh, well, what do you do? I could have phoned you and said, oh, Mandie, can we delay? Because I just would rather this wasn't here. But at the end of the day, human, can't help it. One of those things. But I think as well, you know, in the industry, there's a huge issue with, it is that visibility thing as well, I think, because especially if people are newer to industry, they're maybe still struggling with confidence in their skill base of what they're doing and what they're going to deliver. And then on top of that, they then got to suddenly be the all singing, all dancing PR factory for themselves, which is really hard.
Yeah, and I think
I was just going to say, because I think you know, if you aren't coming from that place of confidence in your skill, if you're still sort of 80% confidence in what you do, and then you've got to go out there and sing about it to an audience that you don't know, and you don't know who's watching, you don't know if your competitors are watching, you don't know if your mum's watching, it could be your neighbour that you don't like, or whoever, you don't know, do you? So there's that whole thing of, you know, you've got to get over that feeling stupid of putting yourself out there. And I think, you know, and as for doing lives, I mean, you know, so many business owners don't like doing that anyway. So, I mean, it doesn't bother me at all now. I used to go, a bit about it. But now it's like, once all of these things is just, you just got to bite the bullet and do it, haven't you, really? And
I'm going to argue with you there on that one. I'm going to argue with that on that one.
Go on then.
It's a pet hate of mine that people just go for it. Please stop going for it. Stop going for it, because the chance to make a first impression is really limited. So if you don't make a good first impression, the next time you've got to make double a good impression for that person to be interested.
Yeah.
So there are some things where you have got to just go for it, right? But most things in business are skill set and mindset. So if I'm watching someone and thinking, well, this is pretty rubbish, it's because they've got plenty of confidence in themselves, but they haven't gone away and learned any skills in communications.
So preparation before you go for it.
And skills, learning new skills. So when I trained as a speaker, so my business was growing, and I will just say, I was very lucky to train with a really good coaching academy. And I remember we had to do a lot of work. It was a lot to get through that. And at the time, my children were like 0 and 2.5. So quite challenging, to say the least. Anyway, we had 2 days on site around the marketing, the PR, and the growth of the company. I can remember driving home from that, sobbing my heart out. I looked, you know, those words in the Robbie Williams song, looks like Kiss, but without the makeup.
Yeah.
That's what I looked like. And I got home and my husband was like, what's happened? Oh my God, are you all right? What's happened? I was like, oh my God, coach. Oh my God. They said I've got to go on the radio, and I've got to go on social media, and I've got to do public speaking. I can't do it. But again, it comes back to learning. So when I started to be a professional speaker off the back of the blog and other things I was doing, I found the best on the planet. And I remember one of these, this gentleman, he trains politicians and celebrities how to be amazing on camera and on stage. Anyway, I'd been working with him for a while, and I was speaking at a big business show in London, and he walks in. I was like, why are you here? Why are you here? I don't want to see you in this audience. And he said, I'm here because I want to see how you've improved. I was like, I really don't want this. Anyway, afterwards, he said to me, fantastic content, really well delivered, but why was you standing still? I said, well, professional speakers stand still and talk like this, don't they? He said, yes. He said, but your Duracell on Red Bull powered by Duracell or Tigger on Duracell powered by Red Bull. Why are you standing still? I said, because they all stood still. He said, yeah, but you're not them. You bounce around. You're the person that says the impossible can be done. You're the person that stands at the front and jumps and their arms are in the air and everything's going on at once. So you have to do that. And it was a very important learning curve that matches up to this about being who you are. And so when you're doing presenting on camera, when you're doing presenting to a big audience, or even standing with 4 people in a room, you have to know the craft first. And I get quite frustrated when you see people and they go live and they go, hi, just go live. Yes, we know you're going live. We can literally see you. Could you imagine it if you put on, I don't know, This Morning, right? And they went, hello, it's just going live. yeah, you've got those cameras in front of you. I would have thought that was the plan. So I think that is an issue I have, is that people get this set of skills as a salon owner and think that I just do it, that'll be fine. When it's not, you are a presenter. The important thing to remember, and I think it's really important, and I know within your industry, it was highlighted as quite an issue throughout the pandemic, because people weren't professional. And I think that we have to remember that every time you post on any form of social media, you are a publisher. Now, as a publisher, you can be sued for putting out false information. You see where newspapers have to retract information or publish an apology. You technically can be had on exactly the same grounds. And people forget that. Whereas if you start to treat your social media like you're a publisher, you're a presenter, you get a better quality, you raise your professional game, and people take you more seriously. So when I trained with this gentleman years ago, he said, who do you admire? And it was quite telling, actually, because I couldn't really think of any female speakers that I admired. The only one I could think of was Oprah. So every single event I've ever done, whether there's 5 people in the room or hundreds and hundreds in the room, I always get on that stage and I act like I'm Oprah Winfrey. So the first thing I do is always a big hello. I look at the camera, and it's that customer service thing. It's about, I want you to feel special. Not them, not that one over there. No. You're the only person that matters to me in this room. And that's mega important. But again, that's about skill set and mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. And so going back to the blog, so if they have a blog, because I know there are platforms where you can just host a blog and that's it. Like, with WordPress, you can have just a WordPress blog. And there's many things like that. And those you can do. I can't remember, because I used to have a WordPress blog and I can't remember if that's free. If it isn't free, it's not very much money, is it? I'm sure it was less than, it wouldn't have been a lot. I was tight.
So it's a conversation we have in the insiders quite often. Where can I put a blog? And yes, you can set up a WordPress blog. This is why I would suggest, if you want a blog, you need to ideally be a little bit techie, or hand it to someone. I know that James from Koala Digital and I know Justin from eMedia will both advise our members really well. And they have done so many websites for people where they've just said, all I want is a blog presence. That's all I need. And they've not been had over, and that's been done for them. Once someone's done the setting up, the security and all those things, then you can run it for yourself. But if even that feels too big, write for someone else's blog. The Businesswoman's Network, we go by 2 names. So officially we're the Businesswoman's Network, but we became the Insiders when businessmen joined us as well. But we still use the original title. But for the BWN, all of our members are welcome to write for our blog anytime. And it's an award-winning blog. So it's great, because that's the issue they have, is people go, right, I've written a blog, brilliant. It's a bit like opening the salon doors and expecting to be inundated. Then if I say to people, when they come to me and they say my blog's failed, I can instantly see why it's failed. But it's really funny. I find myself saying, just to clarify, you couldn't get any business, so you started a blog. So how are you marketing your blog? Because if you couldn't market your business, what evidence have you got that you can market a blog? You've done this all wrong.
And I think as well, people misunderstand, don't they, that all of this stuff needs promoting, and it needs to be pushed, and it needs to be put into the public domain. And yes, you can just put a blog there and hope that people are going to find it, but if you don't, there's all the stuff like the SEO and tag words and all of that stuff that is so vital to making it work. And so if you don't get that right and you don't understand it, you really do need to go and learn about blogging to be able to make it. I know somebody that's sort of like a familial link with me. They had a really successful blog. I mean, she ended up traveling all over the world and doing amazing things. And I've got a now friend who's also done the same thing. One of them was she used to just do sort of like, she was a teenager when she started it, and she just did like lifestyle. And then my now friend did it on food. But both of them have had this like massive, huge careers out of it, where they both traveled internationally and done amazing things with it. And you can.
I was going to say, I got my first book deal from my blog.
Yeah.
So the UK's leading nonfiction publishers, they found my blog on LinkedIn. They went to my website. They saw I did Facebook Lives, and they phoned me completely out of the blue. And you don't need to have millions of people. It's about, again, it's back to having the right people. And it's also important that you have your own voice. So people think they can't talk about the spot on their end of the nose, or how they cocked up a hairdo once and they had to give someone a freebie. Own it. Own who you are, because people fall in love. We like honesty. We like transparency. If you saw the trend report that I did last October for our members, looking into 2025 and 2026, we are going to see a bigger requirement for business owners to be ecologically aware and showcase how they care and how they're ethical as consumers. I think we're going to see a growing interest in not shopping with companies that aren't ethical and don't treat their staff right. And I think we're going to see a need for us to feel connected with the person that we're doing business with. And they can't do that if all you share is perfect people with perfect hair. And imagine you're feeling really rubbish and you lack confidence. And my confidence levels were so bad, I didn't actually ever go into a hairdresser's until I was nearly 40. I was too frightened to go to a hairdresser's. So imagine you're trying to get me on board as a customer. If you're sharing all these perfect people, you are not talking to me. And this is the thing, that's what a blog does, is it enables people's unconscious mind to connect with you. So we make sales once we feel safe and like that person is right for us. But
and I think I think as well, though, is that like what you're explaining there, is that, you can have on your price list, that you do 10 different services and this is how much they all cost. And here's a few before and afters to show you the results of what that means. But you can't tell people in that price list. I mean, you can say on there, we have like, I don't know, like we're neurodiverse friendly, we're trans friendly, whatever. We like people with diversity. You can put all those different messages on there. But people don't always necessarily get to the bottom of that price list. They might open the front cover, see the prices and think, oh, no, that's not for me. But if they then have an understanding, and this is where blogging can come in, isn't it, on your website or in any format, whether it's on your website and even on LinkedIn, putting articles out there and stuff, isn't it? There's lots of different ways of putting this information out there, but it enables you to open a dialogue with the person that is looking at your business. And they, like you say, they get to see the real version of the business. And so I know it's funny because I keep talking about Jamie Lee Jones at the moment. She's a salon owner who she's neurodivergent herself. And she is very, very aware that since COVID, people have been suffering far more commonly with anxiety-related issues and so on. And that also ADHD and neurodivergence is a growing market because there's more and more people being diagnosed. And so what she's done is she's created this like a safe space at the back of her salon that has got its own entrance that you can go into and you don't have to see anybody other than your therapist. And it's completely soundproofed. There's no distraction in any way, shape or form. But she has made an amazing business out of having that space because she talks about it. I heard about it. She came and wrote in a magazine for me and spoke all about what she does. And so she now can go off and share that article that she's written. She can create her blog and do whatever she does with it. But if you've got spaces like that, or if you offer silent treatments, and that's becoming quite a big thing now, having a silent treatment. And if you offer those kinds of services that adapt to allow more accessibility to your business, that's where blogging and stuff comes in so beautifully. Or if you've got people that, say they've suffered from rosacea and, you can provide a facial that's going to reduce their rosacea, or, that they've got alopecia and that you can provide services that can help with that. Those kind of like problem solving dialogues are perfect for blogging, aren't they? Because that's
you've got to, lots of people, a lot of salon blogs tend to be very technical and very this is the facts. We might tell you that we're buying this because it's factually the safest car on the road or the best laptop on the planet. But what we're actually doing is we're justifying our purchase. But it all came down to the emotions and the feelings that we got when we looked at that car or we looked at that laptop. So when you show your own personal style and your way you communicate, you are going to bring the right people in. And just as importantly, repel the wrong people.
Absolutely.
Say, for instance, you've got really strong views on vegetarianism and a plant-based diet. You are not going to want to sit and cut the hair of someone that wants to go home and eat steak that night. It's just going to make you think, oh, this is hard work. Oh, this person's so uneducated. Do you see what I'm saying? So you want to repel people. I mean, my certain people within my family don't like my hair. I don't care. I love it. I first went this colour at the start of this year, and there hasn't been a single week gone by where someone hasn't said to me, wow, I love your hair.
I know. It was quite a shock when I saw it because you were sort of more sort of mahogany, weren't you, before?
Shock to you? What do you mean? I kept looking at them like, who's that? that?
I know, because it's strange. But now that will be like, and the more you do it, the more you keep that colour, the more it becomes part of your trademark.
But it's
part of who you are.
It's for me, it's more about always saying. So one of the things, if you read any of my books, one of the things I talk about is you get so far at your comfort zone that you can't see it anymore. And that's always been my attitude. My first speaking gig, I was so frightened. So if anyone does networking, you might have experienced an elevator pitch. And it's 60 seconds to say something powerful that makes people want to know more and buy. And I have a course where I teach those skills. And back then, I would feign a phone call and some emergency for the kids just to get out of doing the 60 seconds. So when I decided to get over myself and get out there, because I need to come up above this precipice, I went and found one of the top coaches in the UK. He was hosting this big day at the Radisson Blu in Stansted. And I said, can I speak? And he went, yeah, I was going to ask you to speak. He said, you're the first coach I've ever met that walks the walk and talks the talk. He said, so you're going to come and talk? And I'm like, yes, brilliant. And on the inside, I'm thinking, who said that? That can't have been me. I wouldn't have done that. I remember beforehand, I was shaking, couldn't remember my name. But I like to get so far in my comfort zone that I can't see it anymore. And I think that is something that all business owners, especially salon owners, should be considering. How do I get out there and showcase who I actually am? Because you know that salon owners, I'm a member of it's called a woo-woo business networking event, but I'm very spiritual. And I think many salon owners realize that they've got this ability to pick up on energies and the way people are feeling, and then go on to explore doing Reiki and all this kind of thing. You do not want to attract people that don't match up to your energy. So when you showcase who you are, yes, there are some people that think I'm a complete lunatic. I don't want to speak at your conference. It looks boring as hell. There's going to be loads of PowerPoint with loads of words on it, and people are going to be asleep in the back. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be associated with it. I don't want to know. I want people that look at me and go, she's as mad as a box of frogs, but my God, she makes things happen fast in business. And that's what I want. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to think to yourself, well, who am I? Who am I really? Yeah. And if you don't know, one of the things you can do is sit down and talk to your customers that absolutely adore you and say to them, look, you know, there's seven hairdressers in this street alone. Why do you come to us? What is it we give you that's different? And at first they'll say it's about the price, or you do a really good cut, or I enjoy the massage. But ultimately, it always comes back to how you make them feel. And that's what your marketing is always got to be about, is how am I going to feel? And if you don't know the emotions connected to it, actually, we do a post once in a while over on the Insiders where I get people to say, click on it straight away, give me the answer. What emotions works best in your business, in your marketing? So for some, it will be very much the carrot. You know, come this way. It's going to be gorgeous. You're going to feel amazing. You're going to have everyone think you're the best person in the room. You're going to love it. You'll get a pay rise. You look that good. That's how you're going to feel. Or is it the stick and well, let's be honest, if you carry on down this route, your business won't exist in 6 months' time. You won't have enough money for your business rates, let alone your staff, and you're out of here. So there are very, very different ways of communicating, and some will work for some and some will work for others. Yeah,
it's really funny. You said exactly what you just said. The episode I've just uploaded this morning, I literally told them to go away and over the next 2 weeks, ask as many customers as they can why they came to them in the first place, because that tells you what you did right to get those customers, so you can go and replicate it again and again and again. Yeah. And it is. And I think as well, it's nice to hear because, you know, and I was saying how, you know, people, you know, you've got a waiting room of potential customers that are all hovering around and they're all sort of watching you on social media, doing your lives where you've gone for it and you haven't quite got it right, or that they've read an article that you wrote somewhere, or, you know, for whatever it is, that wherever you show up, there'll be people watching, making a decision as whether it's now the right time. And until you connect with them in the right way, it won't be the right time. Yeah.
Yeah, so you connected.
Yeah.
Not when I shared about how to make, thousands of pounds in a day. Not when I said how to make a new customer in 60 seconds. Oh, no. You connected over me pretending to row across the screen.
No.
But that's it, isn't it? Because
yeah,
when people read my books, when people take my courses, when they rock up to an event, when they are in the insiders, they get Mandie Holgate exactly the same wherever. Yeah. People will meet me in the street and say, you really are just like this. In fact, one person met me recently and said, you are really like this all the time. I said, well, I do need quiet downtime because I'm quite high energy. Yeah. What are you like on alcohol? And I said, about the same. Not much different.
I know, but this is what I was saying is, like, if you're in your world, we see you dancing and singing and doing all sorts of things. You are who you are. And some days I look and just think, oh yeah, I'm going to sit and watch Mandie and I'm going to watch her dance and I'm going to watch her in her mad 80s clothes and doing whatever she's doing. But other days it's like, oh, I can't watch that today, because some days I'm not in the mood, because some days I haven't got that energy to sit and watch that, because yeah, and it is. And some days and probably I might have seen you do that rowing thing somewhere before, and just that day it didn't connect with me. But you have to, I think it's that thing, isn't it, of repetition, where you eventually, if people are going to be in your world, eventually if you keep doing the same thing, the right people will come into your world and they will hit the button and say yes please.
And that's a key thing that many people don't do, is consistency. Yeah. If it's not working, do not change direction until you know what was not working and why. Changing direction is not going to magically fix it. You have got to be consistent in what you do. I get clients who come on board for the weirdest reasons, and quite often they join the insiders and say, oh, go on then, I've been stalking you for years. Yeah. And they've joined me because they've looked at the tiles in my bathroom in a live, or one of the best ones recently was, I was working along, I've got a huge screen here, and I do a lot of writing for a lot of magazines and a lot of huge global blogs. And I was working away here and it was late and my daughter wasn't getting home from work until late. And I'm thinking it's 6 o'clock and I know I've got to keep going till 7 so I can have tomorrow off with my daughter. How am I going to get the energy back up? So I had my headphones on. I got a really loud, I love K-pop. I got a really loud K-pop song on and I sat here dancing on a live. No one could hear me. I'm just dancing, giving it all. And someone signed up to the insiders. So I was like, I was silent dancing.
Yeah. That's probably what I think I did see a bit of that one. I remember seeing something about you dancing on K-pop. So I must have seen a bit of that.
But that just shows you it's being unique, it's being yourself and standing out. So if you love, I love Star Wars, obviously. Yeah. So if you love Star Wars, put it on the wall. Tell people why you love Star Wars. Own who you are, own the things you love. If you love a certain pop star or K-pop, explain why. Tell people what it does for you, how it brings your life alive, because then you're bringing your emotion to your marketing.
And it's that sort of being known for thing, isn't it? It's like, every salon, whether your hair, nails, beauty, whatever it is, you'll be known for the services that you provide because you provide those services. But it is those things, isn't it? Like on my website, I always had we had the meet the team stuff of who we are, what we like doing, and what our favorite treatments are. So if you're going to come to us for that treatment, you're going to get a better treatment, perhaps, because I love doing that treatment so much. It's like, it is a passion of mine and I absolutely love doing it. And talk to people about what you like doing. I like going for walks in the forest every day. So I quite often post on my personal, and so much of my stuff now is on my feed anyway. So I'm forever posting pictures of me wandering with the dogs and doing stupid stuff, just wandering around and, taking photos of dogs peeing and things, because I do, I catch them like that every now and again. But people know that I do that. So now, she's always walking in the forest. And like you with like Star Wars or K-pop, it's that thing, isn't it, that connects you. And you go, actually, I quite like doing that too.
And the ironic thing is I've been looking to go for a massage for quite a few months. Years and years ago, I used to go to someone who used to mix up the oils according to how I was feeling that day, and then I'd have a massage. I haven't had a massage for 8-9 years, but I really fancy doing something like that. I have gone in, looked at tons of websites, tons of social media, and not one person have I felt connected to. They really do let themselves down with this lotus leaves and candles and everything's the same. I want to know that you're going to put up with this coming in hyper as hell, and we're going to slowly bring Mandie down, make her calm. She's going to shut up and have a kip. But no one has done that on here for years. And I'm not going to sign up to a massage and take time out of my day on the off chance that it's any good.
Yeah. Or maybe we can sort that out for you, Mandie. Maybe we need to. Maybe we can put a plug out for an aroma, because what you want is a prescribing aromatherapist. I know many of them that lives in your area that actually wants.
The thing to remember is we don't trust social media anymore. No. So too many companies are very reliant on social media. I see people spend, honestly, tens of thousands of pounds on business growth. I saw one only last Friday. And she's a member of the Insiders. She's done the Blogging for Business course, How to Write a Bestseller course, and 2 coaching sessions. And so that's about £1,500. She has spent somewhere in the region of £20,000 to £30,000 elsewhere, and none of it's worked. None of it. And she said, how is it in 2 hours we've done all of this and I've spent all this money and none of them have told me this stuff? And already I can see an improvement with what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So be mindful that we don't believe social media. When I started hosting this business 15 years ago, we needed, I believe it was 15 to 21 touch points. When I did talks on my marketing production line, I used to say you need 15 touch points for someone to be ready to buy. So they see something on a social media site, they read a blog, they go to a website, they see the networking, and then they get a reference. So they're starting to get interested, but they need 15 of those for them to be ready. It's now 1,500, if not more. And that's because social media can't be trusted. There's a lot of rubbish on there. As we saw in the pandemic, your industry particularly suffered from people that weren't doing what they were supposed to do. Some people, we had someone I had to tell them to stop posting on our confidential community because they were saying, oh, you can get away with this. And I said, no, you're not insured. So if anything goes wrong, you could lose everything. You could lose your home. Be quiet. Don't say that. And that's the important thing, is look for places to get advice where you know that they'll stand by it. They'll give you a guarantee, and that there will be the facilitation, as you do, to make sure that it's a high quality of advice. And in my view, it's very hit and miss that you'll ever get that in a public domain or social media.
So that leads us to, because we were sort of chatting before we came on, weren't we? And I was saying to you about, there's this that I have seen today, this announcement and the sharing of information that Facebook are going to be making the blue tick verification system something much bigger for businesses that's going to cost more money. And obviously, Facebook, in its essence, you can go on there for free and have a profile. You can go on there for free and have a business page. But but it's becoming more and more difficult to utilize those for free. And from looking at what I haven't had a big chance to look at this and research it properly. This is like a bit of a, off the top of my head, and reading something someone else is writing about it that I do know, like, and trust. But that it would appear that Facebook and possibly the whole of Meta is going to make small business life a little bit more expensive. So when that's the case, in today's world, because obviously 15 years ago, before we had all of this, we all used to use yellow pages. We used to do leaflet drops. We used to do
yellow pages. Remember, I think it was.
Yeah. I know. Do you know what? I got a yellow pages recently, and it was about that big. It was so tiny. I was like, I can't believe they're actually still putting it in print. I mean, you used to be able to. I can remember proper digression. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I had I kept getting really bad sacroiliac back pain, really bad. And I can remember my mother-in-law, who was a physio, saying, I was moaning, I was going, when I'm standing doing my ironing, it just kills. And lots of people just said, well, don't do ironing. but I like ironing. So, and what she said to me was like, get 2 yellow pages and that will be enough to raise your leg. So it will take the pressure off your spine. And that's what I did. Whenever I stood, I used to have 2 yellow pages or 2 telephone directories. But they did. They used to be like 2 inches thick, didn't they? Maybe 3.
Well, the thing is people are overly reliant on social media. And I like to post the question to the insiders. Facebook's disappeared. What do you do? So our Facebook went down for many of us around the world for a couple of days, didn't it? Well, a lot of people only had it gone for a little while, but I had it gone for 2 days, which wasn't good for me at all, because I was supporting my friend who just literally days before lost her husband, and I couldn't get hold of her. So it was quite upsetting for me, and I've tried to encourage them to move to another location. There is a fine line, because some of us have customers who are on social media, but everybody will have a way of communicating with customers that doesn't rely on social media. So sending out a really cool newsletter once a month. Again, do they want to hear from you more often? Do they want to hear from you less often? Making sure you're going to the right events. Doing other things, getting in the press. We love getting our members in the press for free. Yeah. I don't want you to pay for PR, unless it's one of our PR agencies, and then I do want you to pay for PR.
Yeah.
But if you're a really small company,
so much you can do for nothing.
If you are a small company, if anyone wants to go and have a look up Mandie's marketing production line, there is over 40 things on there that you can do that will grow a business that don't use social media.
Yeah.
Don't use social media. And it's important to add these, because then you fill in all the gaps in your marketing. So that person that was stalking you and now doesn't get to see your content because the algorithm's changed and you're not being consistent, they're going to find you in other places as well.
Yeah. And I think that's so important, isn't it? And working out, one of the things that I've been talking about over this series is about finding your ideal client and knowing where they hang out. And, and we all use that kind of phrasing a lot nowadays. Where are you going to find them? Where do they show up? Where do you show up? And, we all use this kind of language. But, finding out that actually you've got a really amazing coffee shop where, if you're trying to target young mums, they might all go in there for coffee after they've dropped the kids off at school.
Yeah.
So get in there. There's all of those opportunities, isn't there, to just be in the right place.
So one of the things that people often neglect to do is collaboration. I'm more than happy to go and work from a very fancy salon for the day, as long as there's good coffee. If there's not good coffee, you've got no chance. But I'm more than happy to do that. Imagine that you go in for your 3-hour session, and you get your nails done and your hair done, and you're also going to leave with more confidence because you now have changed the way you talk to yourself in your head. And that's not just me. You could have image consultants, makeup artists, there's lifestyle choice experts, menopause experts. There's so many people that would love to do that. And that's not just about giving added value to your customers. What you're also doing is halving the marketing, because this is it. I would say, if you ever do want to do a collaboration with someone, really do your own homework. Don't take what's coming out of their mouth as gospel. Go and do your homework and look at them online and think, do I want to be aligned with this company? Are they like me in every shape or form? Are they actually going to do the work they say they're going to do? When I first started my business, I would say yes to every collaboration. And then Muggins here would do all the work, take half the money, and the other person would just rock up, but take half the money and had done none of the work. And you think, I didn't need that guy. I didn't need that person. I could have just done this on my own, which is what I mostly do. But with the right collaboration, what you're doing is you're feeding the algorithm, you're feeding social media, you're feeding Google with the really important information. Everything we spoke about here today is about the SEO and the search engine optimization. What is someone putting into Google? And they're not necessarily going to put, what's the hairdo that makes me feel like I'm not an old woman? They're more likely to put something like, I'm stuck in a rut, I hate myself, all of those things. So if you're not talking about the things that matter to people, you can't connect with them.
There's actually, it just makes me think there's an amazing website, and there's quite a few of them now, but one of the original ones was Ask the Public. And that's a fantastic thing where you can go and see what people are actually asking. And that's a way of like, trying to source the ideal client, because you can see what people are asking and then you can kind of direct your marketing around what they're asking for. So if you provide, I don't know, like a beautiful aromatherapy massage, you can go and ask the public and just put in aromatherapy massage and you'll see what people are asking around it. So you can go and solve those problems for them. Because as well, so much.
You do have to be mindful that it's like I had to pay for a new roof, and I did not want to use a local person because I knew the people before us had various roofers out, never fixed the problem. So I had to find £25,000 when my husband was seriously ill in the pandemic, when we was under 5 hospitals, and I only had a third of the time. I did it. I earned all the money. I did it, not a problem. But one of the things, our roofer was nationally recognised for what he does, and can't fault it, it's been amazing, was that he said things like Checkatrade, anyone can go on there and set themselves up. So again, you then are diluting yourself. One of the things I like to talk about in the Insiders is stop swimming in the same sea as everybody else. Get in your own sea. Get in your own sea, do your own thing. If you want to do something where you only do crazy colours, then you do it. If you only want to look after older people and senior citizens because you just want to give something back because your nan was your best mate, then do it. If you want to do a salon that's only for 7 to 17-year-olds and it's not about the haircut, it's about making those girls go out into the world and love who they are and get the careers they want, then do it. Own what you want to do, because you will stand out. And that's what this is about. It's about giving people that unique experience. We have become a society that wants an experience. I don't want a haircut. I want an experience. When I go to get my hair done, I am there to cuddle Klaus the dog. Klaus is very special. We love Klaus very much. I am there for the exceptionally good coffee. I am there for the crazy decor, and there's always something new for me to look at. And I'm there to know that that lady is going to treat me like I am the only customer on the planet. And that's what I'm paying for. So I come home and tell my family, and my husband was like, "You paid for that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did. And I'm going back in 6 weeks' time to do it all again, because it's the way I'm made to feel." And that's what you got to think. How are we making people feel? That customer communication is so important, and the right marketing enables you to do that time and time again. I'll finish by saying that there isn't a lot new in marketing. There's new science, there's new research to explain why we know what we know. But because us humans have always had these brains, things don't change. You've always got to be asking yourself, I love the McDonald's analogy. I don't eat McDonald's, so I'm not sure I should use it, but it's a really good one. So when you go to McDonald's, they are the geniuses at making you buy again. So they will say to you, do you want fries with that? Right?
Yeah.
Or they will say, do you want to supersize your order?
Do you want to go large?
Or they will say, hey, here's a competition. You never know. You might win. And everyone wins chips. So what happens? You come back. And those 3 things teach you about side selling, upselling, and reselling. So when you get your marketing right, when that communication really tells me how much you love me, you will sell again to me. You will upsell to me, and you will side sell to me. But you've got to be original.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think, that McDonald's is an absolutely brilliant lesson in how to market. And there's so many brands, aren't there, that are out there. I love Virgin. The way they make me feel, I don't ever want to fly with anybody else other than Virgin. And if I can't fly Virgin, I actually get quite upset. But it's that thing, isn't it? It's that how they make you feel. One day, just for example, we were on a Virgin flight, and they served up a dinner that I can't remember what it was now. I could be a bit of a fussy eater. And they served up something that I just went, I can't eat that. It's really, no, not my thing. And you know what? The girl, we were only in economy, and the girl, she said, like, are you not eating that? I said, oh, no, sorry, I don't, it's something I don't eat. And she said, just leave it with me. She said, do you eat beef? So I said, like, yeah, I eat beef. She came back with the first class dinner for me. And I
Makes you
had a
feel
whole first
special.
class dinner. But that serve, it will, and that was the first Virgin flight we ever had. And I will never forget it because she made me, A, she didn't judge me for not eating whatever food they'd served me. And B, she went over and beyond anything she needed to do to make me
Yeah,
feel like a valued customer. And I think
exactly.
that, and when people do that, you know, when you see these amazing companies with their huge marketing teams, see what they do and see how you can replicate it, because that's going to be what works for them and has worked for decades and decades and decades, and how you can advance your
Still got
business too.
brains. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
use them. So anyway, that's wonderful information for everybody. So how can people connect with you, and where can they find Mandie Holgate?
Well, you can Google me with the Mandie Holgate down there, just there.
Yep.
And you'll find me everywhere. I think there's only about 100,000 million things with
Yeah.
me on.
I did say that they could just Google you earlier.
It's quite easy. And the thing is, I would like to reiterate something you said at the start. Because I'm a best-selling author and I speak internationally, people make the assumption that they can't message me. You can. I genuinely care about every single connection I have, whether it's on LinkedIn, Instagram, or an email, or someone down the street. I genuinely care. So if you want to get in touch, if you want to ask me literally anything, I'll always treat you like customers. So it's completely confidential. No one knows what we've talked about ever. And I would love to meet you. I'd love to know about your plans and what you want to achieve. A new insider joined yesterday, and the first thing I said to them is, what's the big goal? And they said, well, we're on a new path and we need to raise this much money to buy our first home because their second relationship. I went, right, now I know how much money I've got to help you make. So yeah, I would be honoured to welcome you all to the Insiders. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to meet everyone today. Thank you, Sue.
That's fine. Thank you very much for coming along, Mandie. So there we have it. That was Mandie Holgate. And as I'm sure you can appreciate, that was like a really action-packed bit of time. I think we did about an hour, something like that. But she is an absolute delight, and her knowledge and skills are huge. So I hope that you got lots and lots of interesting information from that you can take forward into your business, and that you can grow a bigger client base with, and just develop yourself as well. And I think one of the most important things that Mandie was talking about is that showing up as you, making sure that people see who you are and what you do. And it isn't about necessarily the products and services that you offer. It's about the emotional connection. And I think that through everything I've been talking about through this series, it does all come back down to that, and how that client is going to connect with you as the owner, as the business, as the person that's doing their treatment. Because if they don't get that connection, then they won't stay and they won't reconnect with you. Once they've left you, they're not necessarily going to come back. So make sure, no, they may not, even if they can't connect with you, they may not even book. So make sure that you are the best version of you out there. And like Mandie says, you know, we do this whole thing about just going for it on live. And I think it's very, very difficult. You need to plan. If you're going to do a live, plan what you're going to do. Work out how you're going to open it, because there is nothing worse, you know, just going live, that whole thing that people do. I'm just popping on, I'm just jumping on. Think about opening with just like, welcome, I'm just going to talk to you today about this. And think about how you're going to present yourself as the face of your brand, because that's what this is all about. So that's it for me for this week. And I will catch you next time. Bye for now.